bitch of a job. There's no other word for it. Ricky's word for it was savage. I don't know, you come up to this, it angered me on the EICR, and I got a bit emotional. And looking at it, I coded it C2. I probably shouldn't have done, because of access and proximity to other services, and mainly because of access for testing. I really wish I hadn't now. I got Steve round and he just said I would code 3 it and just so that they don't want the work done. If rather than just say, I think he was saying, rather than just say I'm not going to do the work, I don't want it, I don't want the job, he'd code 3 it and then hope that they didn't want the board changed. The board was changed for a number of reasons other than that. It was some of the breakers, I mean, they could have been replaced. The breakers weren't working, so you had to turn them on and off to get them to come on, and really push them up, a couple of them, so that it wasn't making the circuit. And of course you've got this whole what can you call, you had to climb up a ladder to get to it, and then feed your arms around all these hot pipes. You couldn't get a screwdriver in to take the cover off. The same day I was doing this job, Ricky was in the back of a kitchen cabinet, on the ground floor of the kitchen cabinet, as it were, having had to take the doors off and the shelf out, and then cut out the back of the kitchen cabinet with wires behind it, so risking, obviously going through the wires in order to get another consumer unit changed, which I also EICR'd, and that was a wired fuse, 3036 wired fuse consumer unit. So it's again in the rubric of Kingfisher Electrical, it did require changing because there was no RCD protection. But I just think, looking at it now, I would hesitate to say yes to doing that job. Jobs that you really shouldn't say yes to. I think putting the other side of the story, that had we specified that the tenant needed to be out of the property when it was done, and given it maybe 2 days to do, that's a way around it. That's the way I would have approached it in my own company. But with the firm that I subcontract to, they are, I think I can mention that actually, put it down for 2 days, a day and a half, when the in between tenants. That's the best thing. And I may suggest that in future, just because the job was so difficult. Last Sunday I was broken into. Well, actually not broken into. We left the door of our office open. My wife has taken the blame for that, but it could just as easily have been me, I suppose. It wasn't on this occasion, but a number of occasions we leave the door unlocked. Unfortunately, we do have a homeless guy who sort of kips in the doorway on occasion. And I think the door being open, and first of all, I think he spent the night there, and whether it's connected or not, somebody, he or another person, came in to take my ASR 35 dust extractor, Metabo dust extractor. Thank God they left the actual chaser there. They took a Milwaukee circular saw, my circular saw, which we'll now put in the van as a matter of rule. I don't really use it that much, but it's better in the van than not in the van. He didn't take any of my MFTs, funnily enough, and we found that the NIC EIC on lockdown last time, lockdown 1.0, they sent me a letter saying nothing needs to happen because of lockdown. We've renewed your liability and tools insurance. It turns out they hadn't renewed my tools insurance, just the liability side of it, with a new underwriter. So I lost all that. That was £1,000 worth of goods, which I've ordered up and I've replaced. They're not on site at the office anymore. So that was last Sunday, and yeah, all that sticks out in my mind is that complete bitch of a job. It really took it out of me, and that was on Thursday. Just to give you an idea, I got on site for this 8-way fuse board change, and move the fuse board. As you can see in the photographs, I arrived on site at about 9. And I left without a lunch break at 7:15 at night, working all the way through. I've got a garden office, which I'm looking forward to doing in mid-November. I have had some lighting using those Collingwood Thea lights. Again, yeah, they don't have connection points for Twin and Earth, so that's a bit of a pain. They're £24 each, 16 watt, 150mm diameter LED, 3 light temperatures. You could have 6,000, 4,000 or 3,000. They're pretty good. And that's been the week, really. I did make it to church today, but obviously there'll be an hour a month, including the Advent period, I suppose, when we won't have any church. Thank you for your comments. I've tried to reply to most of them. Comments such as comments. I've had some comments on the EICR that went sort of tragic last November, I think it was, at Fitzallen Road for Mr. Frankham. That was a large 4 or 5 bedroom property with 4 boards, where I had to change out an RCD for a main switch to get them electricity for that evening, because RCD just wouldn't stay on. The first RCD burnt out and wouldn't trip. The new RCD I put in to replace it burnt out and I think did the same thing. I can't remember, but I know I had to replace it twice. When I replaced it with the third RCD, that wouldn't stay on, even with all the neutrals disconnected from that side, it would still trip. So I had a comment in the comments saying that looked to them like a CPC that had taken the place of a neutral. I swapped CPC with a neutral, which I hadn't thought of. But it was very odd because it was still tripping, even though I'd taken all that side of the board neutrals out. So that was a useful comment. Thanks very much. Can't remember who commented on that, but I've passed all that information and the EICR to the electricity Tim from Dexter Electrical, Dex Electric, I think it's called, Dex Electrical in Littlehampton. I've passed him the EICR, I've passed him all the information on that installation and why it could possibly end up being a bit of a nightmare to deal with. He got in touch with me, he phoned me a couple of times, and then finally I got to answer, and he said, oh yeah, you did the EICR, I see some stickers on a couple of the boards from you, and I was just wondering why it said on there to be retested within a year. And so I told him. I think he's trying to work out a quote for remedials on that. Well, I only to both my Nikons were also the Nikons I use have been nicked during the break-in. They completely missed the GoPro, which is what I'm using now. So I've ordered a new Nikon AW120, which is an old version of their waterproof, shockproof camera. I'm only too aware that you've been watching now for 14 minutes of me drivelling on, so we'll call it a day here. Thanks for tuning in again. Remember to click like if you liked, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Thanks for all your support, and I'll see you soon.